Well, welcome, Jacqueline. So happy to have you.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm really, really excited for this.
Yeah, no, us too. And we met at the Women's Conference of Florida, which was an amazing event, by the way. How did you hear about the
Women's
Con-
Florida Conference, the Women's Conference of Florida.
Had you been
Yeah.
before?
Say that 5 times fast.
No. I'm new to Tampa, not even here yet since a year. So, and then I just came across because of the women center, the women's center. And there was an event in Hyde Park Village. And I went there with my daughter because she's an entrepreneur too. She's a musician. So we kind of went there and had a great time. And then we heard about the Women's Center, and we met all these wonderful ladies, and that make everything go. And we also learned about Tampa, right? How kind of cool of a women's city this is, and we're like, whoa, this is so nice. And then I got an email, and I thought, okay, I'm going to that conference. This is really, really nice to do. It was a great event.
It was a great event.
Mm-hmm.
It was so much fun. And I think the speakers were so inspiring.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to
very
you,
much,
Arlene.
very much. But I really like that you guys were there. I thought that was just amazing. I saw that podcasting, and I've been on so many podcasts because it's such a great way of helping people to spread a good message and whatnot. And it's so entertaining, but, they don't feel like they're, learning necessarily, or they're in school, or they got to change something. I feel like a podcast is this wonderful conversational way of, inspiring people. And and then I saw you guys podcast. I'm like, oh, that's amazing.
And you are a best-selling author of many books, correct? How many books do you have?
Yeah, I think it's like 14 by now, and I have a few more coming out this year. And some are chapter books, some are, about being a woman, happiness, and parenting, conscious parenting. And some are journal based, complete journals, yet it's not just like, today I'm happy for. No, it's very, very deep, inspiring, phrases and messages every day. And then some are kind of like chapter books that have woven in some lines where you can write in it, because, journaling is very, very powerful. And I feel like it brings out so many things that you didn't even know about yourself. And I love that. Yeah,
absolutely.
I need to get my hands on one of those for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, some of your books, we were looking through them, and happiness is really one of the key things that you talk about, right? Like finding happiness in what you're doing now, which I think is amazing. And it speaks volumes, because I feel like a lot of people, if they're not happy right now, they just feel like they need to change everything or drop everything and get something new. But it's not necessarily that. Your books are about finding happiness in where you are.
Absolutely. Because honestly, first of all, I do not believe that feeling well, and that includes happiness. To me, happiness is this, mother roof of everything, well feeling. You can call it joy, you can call it smile, you can call it tears, even in crying, there's so much happiness in there because it's so much cleansing. It's really a state of well feeling. And I really truly believe that it's not hard to feel well. It really isn't. And yes, some say, yeah, Jacqueline, you have it easy, yeah, sure, I have it easy. We all are going through the phases of life. Like it's that backpack that everyone carries, and when you look in how I grew up, there were all these phases too. It's like not finding the right man, or not having the right job, and abuse was present, and miscarriage in my life and whatnot, and health, and issues and whatnot, and loved ones, and so I'm alive just like everyone else too. So it's not really that I'm coming from the fact of, well, it's easy for me. It's just my beliefs and what I walk and talk and teach and share is based on nothing has to change in order for you to feel well. Because right now, it doesn't matter. You can, whatever happens, you can actually feel well in it. And because when you chase change, then it's always, I'm going to feel well when that happens, when this happens. And you also are, so not only are you always waiting for the change, you're creating pressure for you. Until then, I can't, so I'm just going to work and change because there's something wrong with me or the situation. So yeah, I don't believe that anything has to change. And also I believe very strongly that you base your well feeling in your inside and not on your outside, because then you're not chasing something that has to be different in the outside. You're taking charge and control and saying, I am going to put my priority on feeling well right now. And it's liberating, literally.
Mm-hmm. That is great advice. There's many components of happiness, I would believe. And one of the ones that Ash and I deal with on a daily basis is finding happiness at work or in your career. What are some good points of advice or good pieces of advice that you can give to someone who may not be happy in their current situation with their job? What can they do to switch that mindset to become happy in their current job situation?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, in reality, see, to me, I find this is an amazing gift, so you're sitting there and you're having a job and you're not happy. So you can focus on the unhappy feeling, all that you don't like, right? And it gets, stronger. The momentum picks up and then it's really hard to get out of it. Yet in reality, it's a gift, because you changed. Maybe you're in a job that years back, it was great. You loved it. Well, you don't like it anymore. Well, there's nothing wrong with the job or with you. It's just you change. Life is an ever-changing entity. That means you're keeping up with the flow of life. To just acknowledge that, and say, well, I'm unhappy with this job because guess what? I changed. How cool is that, right? And then, of course, then there's also this, when you have a job and you're unhappy, but you never liked it, that happens too. Well, why did you take that job? Usually it's for income, whatnot, right? To focus then on what it brings and not on the lack of it. And so you can literally change your perspective in how you are actually showing up and perceiving and feeling in that outside situation, which would be a job. And then comes the inside thing, to start saying, you know what? I don't really like my work so much, so I'm not going to focus on that anymore, because every time I focus on it, I don't feel so good and the momentum picks up. So make a list of what do you like about your life, and sure, it's, you can say, well, that's in denial. It not really is in denial, because you're still showing up for work. What you're doing is you are actually taking charge and changing where your focus goes, right? You're becoming actively really focused in places in your life where you are happy. Is it family? Is it, staring at the sky? Is it listening to a songbird? Is it eating a piece of chocolate? Is it, I don't know, the sheets? You have really soft sheets in the morning. It can be simple. And when you focus more and more on that and leave all the rest out, what happens is you're changing the frequency, because everything is energy. So you're changing the frequency in where you actually live your life as and in and from too, and what happens is when you change the frequency, everything in the outside changes too. So to really focus on where or make sure that you focus on where you focus on is in a good thing, and not constantly on the lack of things. And think about when you get up and you're really kind of angry in the morning already, and then you go in the kitchen, stub your toe, the coffee spills and everything goes wrong. It's this downward spiral. Yet when you're in a good mood, everything seems to go well. And that's really because you're in a frequency of joy. And when you're in a frequency of joy, good things are coming your way, because that's where all this good stuff is sitting. So to really focus on how do I feel and where is my focus, and when you're not feeling good, your focus is on things that are not making you feel good. To really shift that and say, you can even make a list and say, all this stuff I do not like in my life, and then put the list away, close the book and say, well, at least it's written down. Somebody will take care of it, the universe or whatnot, my subconscious. And then go on and focus on what you really like in your life. And I tell you what, many things on that list of what you don't like is not even going to be there anymore when you come back to it, because you changed in the inside. And that will be my easiest trick, to just change the focus, create a new momentum, because nothing ever stays the same anyway, so everything is always changing, and to stay with that flow.
Right. And that is so true. Like whenever you're having a bad day, everything seems to be going wrong. And whenever you're having a great day, everything seems to be going great. And yeah, you're bringing those like negative or positive things into you.
Yeah. It's like you're attracting what you're feeling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're feeding that machine. Which machine do you want to feed?
Right. Do you recommend, we've talked about this many times on the podcast before, a gratitude journal, either at night or in the morning, writing those things down? And when do you recommend writing them down?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, gratitude is like something that shifts you straight into a well-feeling frequency. That's just what there's also appreciation is too, or love, or saying thank you, or just simply saying, I am okay. It's like, so you're having a really hard day and you say, I am okay. Oh, I'm so okay. I'm really okay. I'm going to be okay. I'm already okay. So just kind of talk to yourself. And so journaling, I do believe in journaling, obviously, because when you journal, it's just very potent, it's very potent because it goes on paper and stuff comes up for you, and thought processes and knowledge about yourself that, you wouldn't have without going into a journaling mode. Doing it, I would do it in the morning and in the evening, before you go to sleep. Think about everything, even the things that you didn't like, and be grateful for it, because they're all lessons and gifts and shifts and stepping stones. And then in the morning too, like, what are you excited for? Make it, an excitement journal, for instance. All my journals are like they have like a subject, and then for like 30 days you're journaling about that subject. For instance, one is called open, because if you're closed, nothing is going to happen or change. Yet if you're opening yourself, and there's thousands of ways how to open yourself. So you journal every day about, a new way of being open, meaning that you are actually opening yourself up. So be creative and like follow your heart, because it doesn't fit for everyone the same way.
Yeah, I love that. What I really like your perspective on, like the job, for example, since Steph brought that up, and that's what we deal with on a daily basis. And I feel like that's mainly where people are focused on, is trying to be happy in their job. Right. I like how you suggest there's got to be something you're thankful for, or like, whether it's the coffee at work, or like, at least your sheets when you wake up in the morning, like, please wake up happy, right? Like, please wake up with that, I don't know, that gratitude mindset. But I like it because just even those little things that you're thankful for, can ultimately change your frequency, like you were saying.
Absolutely. And I tell you what, it's like, the thing is trying to change something that you don't like comes usually from a space of lack and not liking it. And so let's say the job thing, and it's a great explanation there. So you don't like the job, you're really unhappy, and you're in that frequency, you're focusing on that, and you're going and looking for another job. Most likely you're going to find a similar job in the same frequency because you haven't shifted, Yet if you say, you know what, I do not like my job that much, but I'm going to start changing my momentum and my focus, and I focus on everything in my life, including the little things at my job that I do like, and that's what I'm going to focus on. And if I shift over to not liking something, I'll just say, oh, there it is again. That just puts the momentum on, or it puts the clarity on me and saying, yeah, I really do not like this. I want to shift. Thank God I'm changing. And then I shift the momentum to something that I do like. What happens is just you change in the frequency, and then, you're going to go look for a job. the next job you're looking for comes from a different frequency that you are in, meaning you're going to get that next big good job that you really wanted, and that's actually going to make you happy. And that's for, you know, finding a new partner, finding a new house, a new place to live, finding a new job, anything new really that you want, to make sure that you shift inside of you first and get to a better place. And from there, say, okay, I'm ready. And stuff will come your way that you didn't even know exists. And it's going to make you so happy.
Right.
Yeah,
I love that. We always say the same thing all the time. It's hilarious.
Right. So if someone is unhappy in their job, for example, and it was something that can be maybe changed, or maybe their role can be altered a little bit, or there's another opportunity within the company, I feel like that would be a good opportunity to, you know, kind of look in within yourself and even in your company, like maybe I could do something that I like better, or even do something different within the company that would be a better fit for me right now. And I don't know, I feel like it doesn't need to be changing your job completely, but looking within
Absolutely.
Right.
your role.
And you know, a lot of times companies are actually then going to create something new for you. And so my thought process there is to not so much so if you're in a job and you don't like it, but you necessarily like the company, for instance, right? It's an option too, to not so focus on, well, what else could I do in there? Because a lot of times, you know, on a physical life level, we're very, very limited, right? There's only so much we can imagine and so much, but there's more options out there. And it just kind of comes flying to you. And like somebody says something like, oh, I'd like that. To open up for that, I would actually focus more on how do I want to feel. So right now I'm unhappy, I'm unfulfilled, I'm underappreciated, or anything like that. You know, I don't feel free or inspired or whatnot. Okay, that is great to know. Write that down. Well, how would you like to feel? So forget about the job, forget about the life, forget about the partner you're looking for, how it has to be. How about how do you want to feel?
Right.
Well, I want to feel inspired. I want to feel fulfilled. I want to feel appreciated. I want to feel like I matter. You know, I have so much to say. I want to feel that I have a voice, that I'm heard. And make a list of how do you want to feel. And when you then go down that list, you say, okay, in my life already now, outside of work, for instance, well, where do I already feel like that? Oh, I feel like that when I do my hobby. I feel like that when I'm exercising, or I feel like that with my kids or whatnot. So, and then kind of start realizing you actually already are feeling the way you want to feel in many places in your life.
Right.
And then focus on that. You know, what happens is you shift then in the frequency of how you want to feel. And from there, opportunities will come your way. Versus, you know, you say, well, I have a desk job and I kind of want to be more out and about in my job, for instance. And then you say, well, but that company doesn't even do that, and they don't even offer that type of job. Then you're limiting yourself and you're closing yourself off. Versus, I want to feel like this in my life, in my job, and everywhere. And then to really go with that. And what happens is you go on a frequency of how you want to feel. And suddenly somebody comes up and say, hey, we can create. That's actually a good idea. And then you bring so much to the table for that. Right? To not limit yourself and go with the feeling, you know?
Yeah, no, that's such a good point, because I feel like in so many of my conversations, you know, you suggest certain things, and then that's exactly what one would go to is, well, they don't have that here, or it's not possible here because they make sure that, you know, everyone's at their desk, or whatever the case is. But you start, and it sounds very limiting too when you say that, when you explain it like that. It's kind of light bulb in my head going, oh yeah, those were, you know, kind of negative comments or like limiting comments.
Absolutely. And to be really honest, it's like everything is possible in life. Right. It's everything. Whatever you want to do is possible. However, it asks for you to to be open to these possibilities. And when we're in our physical mind is so limited, yet, when you're thinking that you're so much more than just your physical body, you're in the being, and, energetic, you are an energetic big part. It's the biggest part of who you really are. This whole world, runs on energy, and things are possible. And when you tap into that, that means you go by feeling. Because, if you're unhappy, that means you're limiting yourself, actually, because feelings are unlimited. Happiness is unlimited. There's never a ceiling. You can be as happy as you want to be, right? No matter what's happening in your physical life. And to really kind of realize, and, some people say, yeah, Jacqueline, that's a little voodoo. It really isn't. It really isn't. It's just, it's a realization how powerful you actually are, how unlimited you actually are, and how limited physical life is. It's very limited in a good way. You're here to experience physical life, yet when you tap into the energetic part of being alive in yourself, you're like, oh, I can be as happy as I want to be right now. Seriously, really? Oh, yes, you can. Actually, there are no limits. And to really just go by how you feel. Yesterday morning, I like to go outside and bike a lot and whatnot. And yesterday morning, it was like, so what do I need to know today? And I'm like, nothing. Actually, you only need to know how you feel and how you want to feel.
Yeah.
Think about that. You don't need to know anything. You just need to know, how do I feel right now? And how do I want to feel? And then shift.
Right.
And that's really, when you do that step by step, that means you are absolutely in a very well-feeling state. And then say, okay, I'm in a super well-feeling state. Bring it on, life. Show me what you got. And things are just going to open up for you.
Right.
Bring it on.
So you have 14 books that anybody can go online and purchase to help them in this happiness, or actually even the parental one and different things, right? But you also have like a membership. Is that true, Jacqueline, where you actually connect with these people and have classes and really help them out on a one-on-one basis?
Absolutely. I actually just opened the doors because I felt like I also do sessions and workshops. I go into businesses and, lay it all out and where it's not working, and help also like employees and owners, to create a better environment and whatnot, because every business has a soul, and why it's not working, it's usually on an energetic level. So I do that, and sessions, whatnot, and monthly programs. And the membership site came to me as an idea, an inspiration. Was biking out there, and it's just this voice inside me. I'm open, let's do this. And yes, the membership site is really cool because it's affordable, for one, and it doesn't take that much time, because I believe in small shifts all the time. You don't do one big change and then that's it, No, you're learning actually how to shift moment by moment. And the membership site is great because it has daily inspiration. So you can hold yourself, in the morning, you roll out of bed, you read it. It doesn't take much time, but it gives you something to think about, a shift for the whole day. And there's weekly coachings, and they go live every Sunday, meaning that you have a little video, you have a little podcast episode, some written words, and a weekly forecast, and where I explain it, and worksheets. And we always kind of choose a subject that I foresee for the next week that is really good. And this week is actually, do you follow your passions? Because a lot of people think, yeah, okay, I know that passions exist, but a lot of people don't even know what they are. They don't know where they're coming from, and then so they don't trust it. And the other thing is, a lot of people don't think it's okay to have passions, because you got to work, you got to be productive, so we're covering passions, and then it's in little snippets, so you can kind of do the coaching throughout the week, but the whole thing takes about 20-30 minutes on a Sunday. It's great, And then, and then I have other material in there, meditations. I just went live with the meditation for when you go walking, because I want to show you that you can go walk, or you can go walk. like really mindfully walk and connect with everything out there, it will change your life. Or doing the dishes. I have a meditation in there that you can listen to doing the dishes, because when you do the dishes, there's water you can connect to, there's the flow, there's, to become more mindful and conscious about what you actually do in life, because it's going to feel really good when you do that. And that's constant, feeding that machine of you feeling really, really well. So yeah, and there's more stuff in it. It's a packed, membership site meant so you have meant for people to have a place to go to when you also don't feel so good. You can say, oh, I'm going to do this today, I'm going to do that today, and it will shift you guaranteed.
That's great. And we're going to include in our show notes a code so our listeners can receive a 50% discount for the High for Life membership, which will be on the first payment or on the yearly fee. So I think that that's exciting. And also you have tons of books on your website and the journals that people can check out. And I love the book giveaway. I think we should do a contest on our social media for that. So we're going to include lots of fun things and ways to get involved and get these materials from you. And I love the name of your company, by the way, Freaky Healer. How did you come up with that?
Well, it was one out of inspiration. We used to live in Italy, and they had little kids running around, and I did my work mostly privately. And then I came up with a website and a daily blog, whatnot, which went really, really big. And that was then the first book was initiated that way. And I thought, okay, I need a name, and then I said, oh, I'm getting Freaky Healer. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Yes, it fits. And it just stuck over the time. And yeah, it's like, I don't think I'll ever will change it, but there's not this big, amazing story. And I stood on top of a volcano and there it came and whatnot. No, it was just this inspiration. Right. And everyone was like, wow, that's amazing. And now it's just Freaky Healer, and it's staying like that. I love it.
It's great because it begs the question, what is this about? What do you do? I think it's great.
Yes. And if you think about it, my healing methods, as an energy healing and a spiritual guide, an educator and thought leader, my methods sometimes are, very, very different, and you have to be open. For instance, just as a quick little example, there was a client of mine calling me completely in distress, whatnot, standing at the street somewhere. And I said, you are filled with gunk. You got to move your energy. And she said, oh, really? I said, yes, twirl around right now in each direction and shake it all off and move it. And just do that. And then I stood on the phone with her, stay on the phone with her. She did. And I said, better. And she said, yes, I can go to my meeting now. And she really completely went into her meeting and everything went great. I still supported her, from with distant supportive methods and whatnot. However, that's what she needed, and sometimes it's as simple as that. You gotta move your energy. And so Freaky Healer really fits because yes, sometimes that's all you gotta do.
Right? Yeah. No, maybe we should start doing like some sort of movement before we start each podcast.
Right.
Get people just,
getting
more relaxed,
getting
that energy.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Yeah, and that's why I mean, it's like it's look at children, they're so playful. They can shift the moods like that. And what do? They play. They connect with an ant. When was the last time you watched an ant in the dirt, right? And that kind of stuff. So it's just like some like when clients come to me and they are having really, really big issues with getting pregnant, for instance, and Western medicine gave up on them. They come to me. And then that's a little deeper, a little bit more, we cleanse and everything and go backwards and shift bigger. But even there, a lot of these little shifts, it's like that's sometimes all it takes. So
yeah, that's great. Well, we are going to include your website, your podcast, which is The Daily Freak.
There we go.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. And thanks to all of our listeners. So much fun speaking with you, Jacqueline.
Well, thank you for having me.